All right, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely. Always up for a good deep dive.
This time you really went all in on AI, huh?
Yeah, seems like a topic worth exploring.
Definitely. And after going through this stack of articles and research you sent, well, let's just say I understand why you're so fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
It really is. It seems like the big question you're grappling with is, what exactly is AI? Like, is it a tool,
Mhm.
a competitor, or something else entirely?
It's a tough one. I mean, you read about algorithms that can diagnose breast cancer better than human doctors, and then in the next article, you're reading about AI potentially creating these crazy, realistic deepfakes. And like, what even is real anymore?
Exactly. Honestly, some of this stuff is kind of unnerving.
I get it. It's a lot to process. I mean, AI is evolving so fast, and it's hard to predict where it's all going, but the implications, they're huge.
Absolutely. It's like we're standing on the edge of something massive, but we don't know if it's going to be amazing or terrifying, or maybe both.
Right. The excitement, the apprehension, it's all part of the ride, I guess.
I guess so. So to start off, let's get down to basics. What can AI actually do right now?
Good question. You know, there's this constant back and forth about AI's capabilities. One day it feels limited, the next it's exceeding all expectations. It's pretty wild.
It really is. What are some of the things you found in these articles that really surprised you?
Well, one of the things that stood out to me is how AI is actually surpassing human capability in areas we thought were, well, uniquely human.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Take the Google Health study, for example. They developed an AI model that analyzes mammograms, and get this, it's more accurate at detecting breast cancer than human radiologists.
Whoa, seriously.
Yeah, and it's not just about speed or efficiency either. This is about AI potentially saving lives by catching things human experts might miss.
That's incredible. A huge win for healthcare for sure. But it also makes you wonder, what's next? If AI can outperform us in something as complex as medical diagnoses, what other fields are next in line for this kind of disruption?
And it's not just about practical applications like medicine. AI is shaking things up in creative fields too.
Really? How so?
Well, you've probably heard of ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. Well, it can write anything from poems to code. And it's getting so good that it's tough to tell the difference between its output and something a human wrote. And then you have these AI art generators like DAOE and Midjourney. They're creating these incredibly realistic and imaginative images just from simple text prompts.
I've messed around with a few of those art generators, and honestly, it's a little freaky how good they're getting. It's almost like AI is invading this space we thought was purely human. Creativity, imagination.
Exactly. And that's one of the key takeaways from all this material you sent. AI is challenging our very definition of intelligence. It's not just about calculations or instructions anymore. It's about learning, adapting, and even expressing itself in ways that really blur the lines between human and machine.
So with AI making these huge leaps, it's no wonder people are freaking out about the whole robot takeover scenario. I mean, some of these articles get pretty dark, like AI becoming more intelligent than humans and basically making us obsolete. Is that something we should actually be worried about? Or is it just a bunch of sci-fi hype?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that's sparked a lot of debate, even among the experts. There's this whole concept of the singularity, the point where AI surpasses human intelligence and starts improving itself at an insane rate, leaving us humans behind.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Kind of scary, if I'm being honest.
It definitely is. And Ray Kurzweil, he's a pretty well-known futurist. He predicted it'll happen sometime around 2045.
Whoa, that's not that far off.
I know, right? And it's not just futurists like Kurzweil sounding the alarm either. Even Elon Musk, who's, at the forefront of AI development, has said that its potential danger is comparable to nuclear weapons. That's a pretty serious warning coming from someone who's actually building these systems.
For sure. And when you look around, there's this massive AI arms race happening right now between all these tech giants like OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Tesla. They're all trying to create the most advanced AI systems, and it's hard not to feel a little uneasy about the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, what happens if they succeed? Where does that leave us?
Yeah, it's a tough situation for sure. On the one hand, there's this huge potential for AI to like revolutionize industries, solve some of humanity's biggest problems, maybe even push the boundaries of how we understand intelligence itself. But then on the other hand, there's this fear, of unintended consequences, losing control or even being surpassed by our own creations. Okay, so let's bring this back down to earth for a second and talk about something that's probably on everyone's mind. Jobs.
Yeah.
We've talked about AI transforming medicine and art, but honestly, it's probably going to impact every single profession in the next few years. Some of the articles you sent even mentioned widespread job displacement. Is this something we should all be worried about?
I mean, it's a valid concern. AI-powered automation is already starting to change the workforce. And some experts think that millions of jobs could be gone in the next decade or two. But it's not as simple as just robots are taking over.
So which jobs are like the most vulnerable and which ones are probably going to be okay?
Well, jobs that involve a lot of repetitive tasks, data entry, or basic customer service are the ones that are most likely to be automated first. Think about like telemarketing data entry clerks, even truck drivers. Those are the kinds of roles that could be replaced by AI-powered systems.
So if you can break your job down into a set of instructions, then a robot can probably do it eventually.
That's kind of a simplified way of putting it. But yeah, those kinds of jobs are definitely at risk. And it's not just blue-collar jobs either. Even white-collar professions like accounting, legal research, and some parts of software development are being impacted by AI.
So what's left for the rest of us? What skills should people be learning to make sure they're not replaced by a robot?
That is the question, isn't it? It's impossible to know for sure what the future holds. But the jobs that are most likely to stick around in the age of AI are the ones that need uniquely human skills. Like critical thinking, complex problem-solving, creativity, emotional intelligence, and the ability to adapt to new situations quickly.
So basically, we need to focus on the things AI can't do. The
Mhm.
human element, I get that. But some of these articles talk about AI becoming so advanced that it starts making decisions that affect our lives in really big ways, like loan approvals, job applications, even filtering the news we see. Is that realistic or is that just sci-fi stuff?
It's not as crazy as it sounds. We're already seeing AI being used in loan applications, screening job candidates, and even content moderation on social media. The question is, how comfortable are we letting algorithms make these kinds of decisions?
That's a good point. There's a big difference between an algorithm recommending a product you might like and an algorithm deciding if you get a loan or not.
Ah,
What are some of the other kind of unsettling predictions about AI we should be thinking about?
one of the biggest concerns is the whole deepfakes thing. These are videos and audio recordings that are completely fake, but they look and sound so real, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. Imagine a world where you can't trust any video or audio you see or hear. That's the kind of danger we're talking about.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like we're headed towards a world where the truth doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole AI consciousness question. Some of these articles talk about the possibility of AI systems becoming self-aware, having their own thoughts and desires. It's mind-blowing.
Mm.
Is that even possible, or are we getting carried away with philosophical stuff?
Yeah, it's a question that's been around forever, hasn't it? Like, what is consciousness, even in humans, let alone in machines? We're still figuring that out. But as AI gets more advanced, able to learn, adapt, maybe even show emotions, it's not something we can just ignore.
It's definitely a bit unsettling to think about. Feels like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a conversation we need to have. So we've talked about AI doing some incredible things and the potential for jobs to be lost, the whole deepfakes issue, and even AI becoming self-aware. What are your biggest takeaways from all this research?
I think the main thing is that AI isn't some far-off thing anymore. It's here, it's evolving fast, and it's already having a huge impact on our lives. We're at this point where we need to be having serious conversations about the ethics of it all, the potential risks, and how we can make sure its development aligns with, our values as a society.
So it's not just about the technical stuff, but also the bigger picture, the philosophical side of things.
Mm.
But with so much information out there, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone trying to wrap their head around all of this?
Stay informed, stay engaged. Don't avoid these conversations just because they're complicated or maybe a bit scary. The future of AI is being shaped right now, and we all have a part to play in making sure it's a future we actually want.
That's a really good point. It's easy to get caught up in all the fear or the hype, but at the end of the day, we have the power to influence how this all plays out. Is there a final thought, a question maybe you want to leave our listener with? Something to think about.
Well, we've been talking about AI learning and evolving, but what will it learn from? Us, the data we feed it, the choices we make, the values we hold. All of that will shape the kind of AI we create. So the question I'd ask is, what kind of future do you want AI to build with us? And what will your role be in shaping that future?
Wow, that's a powerful question to end on. It really puts the responsibility on us, doesn't it? Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. It's been a fascinating and honestly a little mind-bending exploration of the world of AI.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
And to our listener, thanks for sending us such thought-provoking material. We hope this deep dive has given you some new perspectives on AI. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep learning, because the world of AI is only going to get more interesting from here.